The vintage Star Wars action figures have a rich history, so in this video, here are 25 facts that you may not know about them. Let's go! Welcome back to the channel, and if this is your first time and you like vintage toys and getting in-depth info on the history of them, then please subscribe to this channel. Number 1. Claytu, Barada, and Nikto have an awesome origin story in their names, which are never said during the movie. Their names came from a phrase in The Day the Earth Stood Still from 1951, saying the phrase, Claytu, Barada, Nikto, disabled the robot Gort. That phrase is also used in Army of Darkness from 1992 to close the portal opened by the Necronomicon. Number 2. Did you know that you can dock the Millennium Falcon on Darth Vader's Star Destroyer? Try it. Just make sure to do it on a flat tabletop and have pillows on the floor. You're gonna drop the Falcon a few times, I guarantee it, so use a beater version and one that you don't mind dropping. Number 3. Hidden features. On the 1983 Princess Leia Organa Boost Disguise figure, did you know her helmet can attach to her back and it stays there? Some say you can attach the blaster as well, and if anyone knows how to do that, tag me on Instagram and show me how. Number 4. If you collected vintage Star Wars toys back in the early 80s, then you know of the sweet-smelling TIE Fighter action figure. Why did it smell so good and sweet? Well, one theory says that it was made in the same Kenner factory as the Strawberry Shortcake toys. Another theory says that this figure was a test figure to embedding pleasant scents inside action figures. Which one do you think is true? Number 5. Why were certain action figures blacked out on Return of the Jedi card backs? Before the movie came out in 1983, Lucasfilm did not want the audience to know who the Ewoks were, so on the first run of the action figures, Logray and Chief Chirpa were blacked out. This is called the 65A card back. This was eventually fixed on the 65B card back released later that fall, right before the holiday season of 1983. Number 6. This 60 grade General Madine figure sold for over $40,000. Why? Well, this tri-logo version of Madine was only made in France, and also it used a very rare bubble called the double stem bubble, again, only made in France. Number 7. There are 2 versions of the original Han Solo action figure released in 1978, but which one came first? The small head came first in the spring of 1978, but because the marketing department thought that the head was too small, the big head version was released later that fall for the Christmas season of 1978. Number 8. The 1978 Jawa action figure first came with the vinyl cape in the summer, but since that small toy was the same price as the bigger action figures, the marketing department over at Kenner thought parents wouldn't find the value in that toy, so they added the cloth cape to make it seem more appealing as a value. So it was changed and released later that fall for the Christmas season of 1978. Number 9. There were 62 coins made for the Power of the Force line of toys in 1985, but there was also a 63rd coin called the Force coin. There are only about 10 of these coins that are thought to be in existence, and they were gonna be made as a special mail-in offer, which would have come in a coin collector's album that looks like this. And this video shows the only known example to exist today. The owner found this album after their grandmother passed away and they were cleaning out the house. They almost threw this away, but they reached out to me and asked me if this was worth anything. After I fainted, I told them yes, it was valuable and they should seek a certified appraiser. So look for this item to hit the collectible market soon. How much do you think it's gonna go for? I'm predicting it's gonna hit at least $50,000. Only Kenner executives have said to have received prototypes of this as a gift. Number 10. The last 17 action figures. Is it the last 17? Well, really, it's the last 15. Lumat and Paplu were actually released in 1984 in Wave 3 of Return of the Jedi on the 79 card backs. Number 11. In 1985, there were 12 action figures made for the Droids line of toys from the cartoon series made by the Nelvana company. There was a 13th figure released though, Blix. However, that figure was only released in Brazil by the Glasslight Company, and it's worth a small fortune carded or loose. Number 12. Yak Face was released in the Power of the Force line of toys in 1985 and came with the collector's coin and staff. This version was only released in Canada and in the UK was only released on the Tri-Logo cards, but without a staff. It never got a US release, which is why this figure, either carded or loose, is worth so much today. Number 13. Collectors always pair either a blue-black or solid-black Imperial Blaster for the 1985 Luke Skywalker in Stormtrooper disguise. Although examples of that figure, mint on card, have never been found paired with a blue-black Imperial Blaster. Number 14. The 1982 AT-AT Commander action figure from The Empire Strikes Back was called General Veers on the Canadian shrink-wrapped versions of this action figure. Number 15. Did Kenner get Forlom's and Zuckuss' names wrong? In the fourth draft of The Empire Strikes Back, there was a bounty hunter referred to as Tuckus, which made its way into the movie novelization released in 1980. Forlom was never mentioned in the script or novel, so Kenner came up with the name. The first mix-up came in 1989 with the West End Games role-playing game. They reversed the name, and it became canon. And in the Power of the Force toy line by Hasbro, those names were solidified. Number 16. What's the red bar R5-D4 variant? On a common R5-D4 action figure, the sticker should look like this: a black rectangle with solid white on the inside. But on a red bar variant, this white area is filled in solid red. These were only done at the Cater factory in Hong Kong and was an error from leftover R2-D2 sheets that were processed, still having the solid blue separating layer when printing. This red bar error is highly sought after by collectors, so if you find one, it's worth a small fortune. Number 17. The rocket-firing Boba Fett was never released to the public, and only a handful of prototypes remain. But the Mexican version of the Boba Fett, made by the Lily Letty factory, has a version where the rocket is still removable. On card or loose, this action figure goes for high dollars, so if you ever find one, you hit the small jackpot. Number 18. The vinyl cape Jawas that were made in 1978 are worth a pretty penny today. But another version of the Jawa, made in Mexico by the Lily Letty factory, is also worth a lot. It's the cloth cape version that has a removable hood. Number 19. Jabba the Hutt's action figure that came with Jabba the Hutt's action playset, sold in the US, had a hard plastic head. But if you bought this same playset in Mexico, made by the Lily Letty factory, it had a squishy head. Number 20. Lando Calrissian's 1980 action figure can come with the smile painted or no smile added. But what came first, and which one is more rare? The no smile version came first on the 31 backs for the Empire Strikes Back figures. The first appearance of the Lando with a smile was on the 41 backs for the Empire Strikes Back figures. And that version remained for the duration of that action figure. So even though today you can get them for around the same price, the no smile is technically the more rare one. Number 21. The US version of the X-Wing fighter came with a laser cannon that lit up and made a buzzing sound. The Palitoy version removed the red bulb and the battery module for the buzzing sound in order to keep costs down in the UK and European toy markets. Number 22. In 1978, Sears was the only store to sell the Cantina Adventure set. This first set came with a blue Snaggletooth, which was actually in error. So in 1979, Sears replaced that action figure with the corrected red Snaggletooth. Number 23. Is it Sand People or Tusken Raider? Well, that just depends on when you bought the action figure. In 1978, the figure debuted as Sand People, but in 1983 was changed to Tusken Raider. On this release, features of the action figure also changed and now featured hollow face tusks instead of solid tubes that previous versions had. The hollow tusk Tusken Raider version is worth a small fortune, carded or loose. Number 24. Out of all the Star Wars figures, Princess Leia has undergone the most subtle name changes. For instance, her Hoth figure changed names 3 times. First, it was 1981's Leia Hoth outfit. Then it was changed in 1982 to Leia Organa Hoth outfit. Then it changed for the Return of the Jedi cards to say Princess Leia Organa Hoth outfit. Number 25. Did you know that for the Imperial Stormtrooper Hoth battle gear, you could have gotten 2 different versions of that action figure? One that came with a single lens visor and another that had 2 separated goggles. 25 facts about the vintage Star Wars action figures. Did you know all of them? And if not, which ones were new to you? Join me on the next episode as I go over 25 more facts about the vintage Star Wars action figures. To see that, click on the videos being recommended now. And as always, my friends, thank you, and I will see you next time.